Okay, people, this is Tommy Charles. I'm back again. I'm gonna finish this real quick. I had a phone call. I videoed these on my phone. So I had a phone call. Usually phone calls don't come through when I'm videoing, but a fellow was FaceTiming me, and when he came in, that interrupted the video. So I guess this is gonna be a part 3 or part 4, but this is some important information that I'm saying. But this is what I'm saying, man. Take care of your families. Now, this is what I'm going to say, and I'm going to put the scriptures. The scriptures going to be in the description on every video. Now, understand and hear what's said in the scriptures if you don't take care of your family. This is scripture. This is not what Tommy Charles think. This is not what Tommy Charles say. This is not Tommy Charles' opinion. But I'm going to read this scripture to you all real quick. What do I do with my glasses? But I can read it without my glasses. I got up when I got the phone call. I thought somebody was calling, so I went up to the front of the store too and see if somebody was, if the fella that called me was out there. But he could have knocked on the door. But let me read this. This is 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. That's 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. And listen to what it says. If any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. Let me read it again. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. So the Most High is saying that an individual, including you, men, listen, who do not take care of their own, especially those in your own house, the scripture is saying you have denied the faith and you are worse than an infidel. So now let us examine and let me give you the information of an infidel. An infidel is an individual who denies Christian. An individual is an unbeliever. The scriptures say the unbelieving cannot enter into the kingdom of the Most High. And it goes on, and it goes on to other scriptures, but you can Google that. An unbeliever. So if the Most High consider you as an unbeliever, he considers that the scriptures say you are worse, not an infidel, but the scriptures say you're worse than an infidel. So it means that anybody who do not take care of their own family, their own children, is worse than an infidel, worse than an unbeliever, worse than somebody who don't believe in the Most High, worse than somebody who don't even believe in the faith of God through Jesus Christ. That's what the scripture is saying. So if you're an infidel and the Most High is considering you worse than an infidel, then you cannot enter into the presence of the Most High. So let's examine all these people out here who are not taking care of their children. The children are out here running like a loose cannon. You're not providing for your family. You're not teaching them life. You're not feeding them. You're not clothing them. The scriptures say you are worse than an infidel. Women, if you are doing anything that's preventing the father of that child from visiting and seeing and spending time and taking care of that child, then the blood is on your hands. Because as we know, like I said in the other part of the video, the system is for the female. Because you all are considered the weaker vessel. The scripture calls you all the weaker vessel. That's why why do you think the system is more for you all? Why do you think everything that you say, your word is concrete in court? Because you are the weaker vessel and the Most High has created you such. That's why. Even though I know a lot of women want to show themselves tough and want to do the things that men do, but in a lot of cases, even in the workplace, when a woman has a job that men have to do, sometimes they need help. Can you help me lift this? Can you help me push this? Can you help me do this? You see, because you're a female and there's nothing wrong with that. The Most High created you as such, and that's to be a woman. Remember, the Most High created everything to be a balance. There has to be a balance. The Most High created the world system as that. And now you all have corrupted it. Many men, many women, and many people on earth have corrupted that. And those that comes from the ways of Satan and in the worlds of Satan. Because they try to, the ways of Satan is to mess up everything and to teach lies and to tell lies, everything against what the Most High say. But, let me read this again. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for his own house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel, worse than an unbeliever, worse than somebody who do not believe in God. I choose to call him Esau, but for your understanding, as I always say, I call him, I'm going to say Jesus. Most High answers to that. He knows what the people did to mess things up, those that's been in control. Men, stand up. That's why I want to start a school to teach young girls how to grow up and be women, and mature women and boys how to grow up and be men. Hollywood don't love you. Satan doesn't love you. The movies they don't love you. They're not going to teach you right. They're not going to give you positive information to teach you how to be a real man or a woman. What's the fella's name? Steve Harvey. He did the movie telling a woman to think like a man. Come on, a woman to think like a man? Come on. No, a woman has to think like a woman. A woman has to be a woman. You don't think like a man. You can understand the ways of men. Understand how, but no, don't put yourself in a position to think like a man so you can counteract with a woman. Steve Harvey is a clown. He's part of the system. You ask me, just the more like a woman, a man is not supposed to be thinking like a woman. I don't try to think like a woman and put myself in a position of a woman, because the Most High has created me a man. So a man is what I'm going to be. A strong man is what I'm going to be. And I'm going to stand up tall. I'm going to walk tall. I'm going to act like a man is supposed to act. As I was created a male. And that's what I am, a male. Anything outside of that is of Satan. So you can't let the industry and these movies and these songs and this rap and all this stuff, whether it's country or whatever, teach you. Because if you do, you're learning the wrong way. So I'm asking the real men to stand up and be men. Real men, stand up and be a man. Take care of your family. Take care of your children. Take care of your children. You can't ignore the certain things that the scriptures say. You can ignore, let me put it like this. You can ignore it if you want to. And you can blow it off and say, it's not that important. But the scriptures say if you don't take care of your own, especially those that within your own house, you are worse than an infidel. So all of my life, I'm going to take care of my children. Women, the blood is on your hand if you're doing anything that's preventing that man from visiting and spending time with his children. Giving your children and buying your children is not showing love. A child needs a relationship. Fear your children. No way in the world I'm going to be fearful of my children. I brought them into the world. You're going to listen to me in my rough hill, but I'm going to show you love and show you respect. We're going to laugh and all that together too. And I ain't going to be fake and phony with you, and I ain't going to give you no fake information, and I'm not going to teach you in the ways that's going to teach you how to get locked up. The system is already going to be against you. I'm not going to teach you to do that, be no pimp, no prostitute, no drug dealer, and all of that. But I'm going to teach you how to be strong and stand up for yourself, because we do live in the evil and a wicked and a sinful world. So this is what this video is about, and this is what I wanted to bring out. It's very important that you take care of your own. It can cost you your soul. It can cost you to enter into Hades, into hell, by not taking care of your family. There are certain scriptures that need to be brought out. These preachers and teachers that's in the forefront of you. Even when I was coming up, why? Why they didn't tell us that? So we live in your life. Look, what about all these men that lived their lives and died and they never took care of their children? I know of a man that's a pastor in his 70s, almost 80, if he won't be 80 this year, that has a child that he never took care of. But he was getting up preaching and calling himself a pastor, evil and wicked to the core. And he had children out there and didn't have a relationship with them. But he's supposed to enter into the presence of the Most High. That's not what the scripture says. Scriptures say, but if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he have denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. That's 1 Timothy, the 5th chapter and the 8th verse. Take care of your children. Your soul depends on it. I thank the Most High that I took care of my children and I'm in their lives because of me, and just wanting to be there because I didn't have. What about my father who lived this life all of his life since I was born and never took care of us? Didn't care if we ate, had a roof over our head, and didn't have a relationship. I never learned his favorite color, his favorite food, what he liked, his personality as a child coming up. Because he got up day in and day out and never thought to call us or to come by and visit us or to spend time with us. He got deep in alcohol and drugs. I remember as a little child, 4, 5, 6 years old, and I didn't know it at that time until I got older. Me and my brothers in the car, and we sitting in the car for hours while he's in the house doing drugs. One day, I was just happy not to be in the house and sitting in the car for all those hours. It'd be daylight when we sitting there, and then it'd be dark. We still out there. One day, or a couple times, he allowed us to come in the house. I was just happy to be in the house. But then I got restless because we was there so late. Him and the man upstairs. When they come downstairs, the man look at us and say, "Your daddy got," and this was that man's exact words. "Your daddy got a big old nasty nose." We didn't understand what he's saying. I'm 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, or something like that. I'm thinking he's talking about snot and boogers. That my father, he need to go blow his nose. I didn't know he's talking about he up there sniffing drugs. But when I got older, I found out about that. Then one time, I was living with my grandmother. My mother kicked me out the house after I graduated high school from McKenzie High School in Wyoming in Detroit. And I ended up living with my grandmother. I was 18, 19 years old. And my father lived around the corner. I didn't even know it. One day, I was back there in my room. I was living with my grandmother. Doorbell rang. I walked to the front. And I see somebody walking in the front door, and I knew who it was. Even though I didn't see him since I was a child. Like, I haven't probably saw him in 10 years. And I knew who it was. But just because of what I knew of God, I didn't disrespect him like I always used to say I want to. So I didn't say what I really wanted to say to him. So I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Turned out he lived around the corner. So fast forward. He lived around the corner. One day, me and my brother Eric was over there. And it was a bunch of men sitting in the chair. And one of the men just started dogging my father out and just saying whatever he wanted to say to him. And I sat there and I was quiet because I just wanted to see what he was going to do and if he was going to take up for himself. And which he didn't. So me and my brother, we ended up having to go get the man straight. And we went and got him straight. And the only reason we got him straight because we couldn't have him leave there. And that man could boast and brag and say, "You know what? I dogged Tommy Sr. out in front of his sons. And they didn't even do nothing. So we couldn't have had that." So I was weak as a child. And I had situations and a lot of fear in me coming up because of just all the stuff that I was going through. But once I started getting older, all of that changed. You see? I got abused enough. I lived in fear enough. I like to say, when I became grown, I'm not doing that. So then that turned me into where I didn't have a problem dealing with shady people. Somebody want to be shady, okay, I'm going to handle that. But so we need our children, we need our fathers, I'm trying to say, to teach our children right and correctly. You don't want them to be no bullies and be messing with somebody that's messed up and weaker than themselves. But we need fathers. And we need men to stand up. That's why I want to start a school. I want to teach our young men how to be men. Our little boys to grow up and how to be men, and our little girls to grow up and how to be women. Real mature women, that we can have productive families. And let me say this before I leave. And I'm speaking to the men and women on this. Understand this. Before you pick you a mate, understand if you decide to have a child by that man or by between each other, let me put it like that. Women, if you decide to have a child by that man, or man, if you decide that this woman is going to have your child, understand when that child is born, he's going to have your personality and your traits, and he's going to have her personality and her traits also. So understand that before you make that decision to lay down and have sexual intercourse. Number one, according to the Most High, you're not supposed to have intercourse until you get married. Intercourse is only for marriage. It's only for married couples only. That's it. I'm not apologetic about that, what I just said, because it is. It's only for married couples only, and that's it. If you're not married, and I'm not saying it in judging, because I've committed fornication and adultery in my life. So I'm not judging you, but I also knew that if I died in that state, that I'm busting hell wide open. And after the judgment, into the lake of fire, according to scripture, which I believe. You see, so I'm going to tell you. So if you're sexually active and you're not married with that individual, you're committing adultery or fornication, depending on if you're married or not. And it can cause your soul to be lost, and you will not enter into the presence of the Most High. There's no woman that have any business delivering a baby by a man that she's not married to. I got my son's mother pregnant, and we wasn't married. When I came home, because she was living with me, and when I came home, she was pregnant. She told me she was pregnant, and I was like, oh, wow, because I had a high school sweetheart, and we was sexually active throughout the years, 7, 8 years. You see, and I never got her pregnant. So after my son's mother told me that she was pregnant, I knew I was living in sin and was wrong. So I said, I need to make this right. So that's what I said. Let's get married. I think we better get married. Because I wanted to be in my son's life. I wanted him to know my favorite food, my favorite color, my personality, my attitude, and all of that. All of that I didn't know about my father coming up. You see? So I'm not saying things and judging you, and I'm not downgrading you because you're in fornication or adultery. But I'm just saying this is what the Most High. But if you choose and decide and desire to live in the world of homosexuality and I mean not homosexuality, but fornication and adultery, then just know that you can't live in the presence of the Most High if you die in that state. You're only supposed to have children by men that you're married to, and men, you're only supposed to impregnate the women that you're married to. But I'm not saying nothing because I have to tell you what it is. See, when I lived in sin and when I was in sin, I was always honest with myself and not talking to the Most High because I know I'm in sin. But how long is that mercy on me? The mercy might not be on you as long, man or woman. The mercy not be on you. Man, if you're not taking care of your children, stand up and be a man and take care of your children. Teach them about life. Buying them stuff is not showing love. You got to have a relationship with them and teach them how to be a man in life. But you yourself have to have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because if you lack wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, how can you teach a child to have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding? This is Tommy Charles of the Speakers Organization, LLC, coming to you from Heaven and Trinity's Boutique at 931 East Market Street, York, Pennsylvania. 17403, telephone number, area code 717-219-8700.